And welcome to our viewers in the Channel Islands this evening. Now, in the words of one head teacher in Cornwall, it's inspired our children. A specially created curriculum which celebrates black inspirational leaders has been designed by the group Black Voices Cornwall. The organisation says because the county is the least diverse in England, there isn't much exposure to black people or black culture. Well, in a moment we'll be speaking to the group behind the curriculum, but first here's what students from Penwith College learnt from their session.
Arrivals at Tilbury. The Empire Windrush brings to Britain 500 Jamaicans.
I think it's definitely changed my perspective on the kind of history. I don't think I knew much about the Windrush generation and how exactly they came over here, but now I've got that information, I feel a lot more comfortable talking about it.
It has definitely made me more comfortable speaking about it in kind of public situations, and I'll definitely be talking about it more with my friends and family.
I think it's very useful and very helpful for a lot of people to hear from someone who is more educated on it than us, but also may have experienced it firsthand. I think it was very helpful so we can kind of feel what he goes through.
Well, I'm joined now by Marcus Elaine, Beresford Lee and Helen Hutchinson, who are all part of the group Black Voices Cornwall, who designed the curriculum. First of all, Marcus, if I can first of all start with you. We heard from some of the older students there, but you're starting this education with students who are a lot younger. How important is this education in Cornwall?
I think education in general is absolutely vital, but when we're looking at something as sensitive as black history and the sensitivities it brings, I think it's really important that we do start young, because everything we learn as an infant, as a young adult, as a young child, it continues with us throughout our entire lives. I do think it is important that regardless of your background, your culture, your heritage, that we all, as British citizens, have a really good understanding of our entire history.
And Beresford, just to pick up on that, it's not just black history, it's British history, isn't it? I mean, how well represented is that black British history in schools currently?
It's currently not well represented. When you teach the transatlantic slave trade and just Rosa Parks or just Martin Luther King, it's not enough. So the transatlantic slave trade is quite insensitive, and a lot of youngsters feel quite embarrassed when they mention it in schools. However, what we do, we teach it in a broader fashion. There's lots of role models who we teach about, and it's a wider story. The story of why we have people of colour in this country is massive. It's important.
Helen, therefore, how easy will this be to introduce this into schools? There may be a slight nervousness amongst teachers when teaching this sort of thing.
Being white myself, I identify with teachers that are teaching sensitive issues. And at times then we might feel that because we feel uncomfortable, that therefore we shy away from it. But what we're finding through sharing our Black history resources is that more and more teachers and leaders are willing to take that uncomfortable journey. And with our resources, with our bite-sized Black history, we particularly made it accessible, user-friendly, so that every single teacher, every single school leader can feel comfortable in their delivery.
And Beresford, this history that's missing at the moment, what's the effects of that missing history?
Well, the effect is people don't quite understand where they come from. So we've got young people of colour. They just think that they were all from Africa or they were all slaves. And as much as the fact that they were, there's a wider degree of history. There's history about inventors. There's history about who invented Black History Month. There's lots of great people who have contributed to British and Black history.
And Marcus, when history is taught well like this, it can have a really positive influence.
Absolutely. When I was at school myself, and we were being taught about the Romans and the Roman Empire, and the way in which it was delivered, the way in which my history teacher interacted with us and engaged, it's that approach to teaching that is, being seen to be the most effective tool.
And Helen, finally and briefly, what's your aim at Black Voices Cornwall? What's your ideal?
Our ideal is to enable Cornwall to really become an actively anti-racist county. We're a voice for all ethnicities, and our aim is to bring education, because we know that that is what will bring change.
Helen Beresford-Marcus, great to have you on the programme. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.